Previously on the Jay and Dan podcast.
There was only 4 kids in my grade, and I was the only boy, so.
Really?
Yes.
Were you homeschooled and you just didn't realize it?
There was 5 at one point, and then that kid left.
For real?
For real.
Did you have a hockey helmet on?
It was a farming community.
What do you mean, like Amish?
What kind of phone are you talking on? Because you need to fix that phone.
It's actually a BlackBerry that was dropped in the toilet once. 6 buttons that don't work, but I'm stuck in a 3-year contract.
Thanks, Vince.
Thanks, Vince.
Okay, I can't email anything with an M in it.
Van introduces the next guy, and they pan over. He's on the desk. Taking a
Goo goo gaga.
Dad rubbed mud on all wounds.
So it's like Robitussin?
Okay.
Hey. What was that? Hey.
I don't remember that.
Hey. I guess that'll be for another time on O'Toole's Mangled Childhood.
Who's going to die this week?
You're listening to the Jay and Dan podcast.
Dansu. Dansu. I don't know if it's Dansu or Dansu. It's dance in Japanese.
Welcome to episode number 32 of the J&N podcast, brought to you by Bing.com. Search for us on Google.
I always remember when we would all watch Gossip Girl, and they were sponsored by Bing, and they'd be like, why don't you just Bing it? You know, they were trying to casually slip it into the script. Hey, just Bing that thing. What? No. Nobody Bings.
That's Bill Gates' product, isn't it?
Is that Microsoft's?
I think so.
Or is theirs Shart?
Have you ever heard anyone? Yeah, I'm going to go search for it on
Hey,
Bing.
can you Bing that for me? Can you just Bing the members of the California Golden Seals in 1974? Just Bing it for me. Nobody does that. Nobody Bings.
Hey, Bing, get out of here. You garbage.
Hey, we got Sean Pronger on the show today. We were planning on having Sean on the show a little while ago. I don't know what happened. Probably couldn't do it because he's busy promoting his book.
I just got the book sent to me by the ghostwriter, Dan Murphy.
Journeyman. The many triumphs and even more numerous defeats of a guy who's seen just about everything in the game of hockey. By Sean Pronger.
Do you know what Dan Murphy signed the book? In the inside cover? Podcast.
Why not, eh?
I'm saying how he signed it.
Hey, speaking of podcast, what a fantastic time we had in Edmonton this past Friday at the Central Social Hall. Thanks to Jesse and all the gang at the Central Social Hall.
Did you just wave to them?
I kind of did, yeah. I did wave. See, the line between TV and podcasting is blurred sometimes.
Yeah, we had a blast. It's a great establishment. We had fun taking some photos, and my night was made before we even got to the event because we were hanging in the lobby of our hotel, and a bunch of just awesome hockey players. Not all of them were Hall of Famers. There were some great hockey players.
Well-known hockey players in the lobby of the hotel.
They were there for a Alzheimer's charity event, one of those Scotiabank events where however much money you raise, that determines your draft order. So you get to draft like Marty McSorley or Kelly Rudy. But the guy who came right up to us was Theo Fleury. And I was like, he's like, guys, watch your show all the time. It made my night.
Well, and Theo was hilarious because he said that he always gets picked last at these events because everybody knows he doesn't drink anymore and he won't be any fun.
He says, I'm the Antichrist of these events.
So everyone picks him last, poor guy.
I know,
Yeah,
I'm like, so you aren't going first? He's like, first off, it's Edmonton, so no. So McSorley went first, I think he said. He always goes first.
That makes perfect sense in Edmonton. JR, our old buddy JR Superstar was there, Jeremy Roenick. We chatted with him briefly. And Jim Poplinski, uber successful lease company owner now. He's like the big businessman in Calgary. He was there.
He kind of scared me. He's very intimidating. He come over and he shake your hand and goes, how you doing? Just look at you.
Yeah, just a big, bald, tall man is what he was.
Yeah, and so Rudy was there.
Rudy Gay?
Kelly Rudy.
Oh, Kelly Rudy. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's right. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, Kelly Rudy. We chatted with him briefly. It was a good time. But then we went over to the Central Social Hall, What a time that was. Again, every time we come to Edmonton, the Oilers seem to score 6 goals in whatever game they're playing. I don't know what...
We were there twice this year. They won both games.
And like big. They peppered the tender at the other end with goals. So, no, it was fun. We had a great time there. And this was the weirdest part about it was basically turned into a meet and greet. It was supposed to be a viewing party, but everyone kind of was, hanging out with us. So we were chatting and taking pictures. And I would say out of every 5 people we met, 4 of them wanted to talk about the podcast. The podcast.
Yeah, that's right. They all wanted to talk about last week's star, Vince O'Toole.
Vince O'Toole, not just there at the Central Social Hall, but on Twitter, all your reaction, maybe the biggest star in the history of the podcast.
I had lunch with someone yesterday that was there to witness it. So I said, because it was a good friend of my brother's, we were having lunch. He
Witness
says,
the horseshoe
the
in the face?
horseshoe to the face.
Right.
So we're sitting there chatting. He's like, I was there. He's like, I was in the vehicle to take him to the hospital. Luckily, they found someone who was not.
Why not, eh?
Can. And, the beep this week is, what is it? What are we doing?
Goo Goo Gaga?
No, that was last week. That was creepy.
What is it?
Why not, eh?
Oh, that's a good
We're
one.
going old school.
Yeah,
because of Edmonton.
Let's keep it real.
But he said they got to the hospital and everyone in the vehicle was so intoxicated that they got kicked out of the hospital. So they said, we just went and waited for your brother at the bar. He says they were like rolling around on wheelchairs and he says it was just a gong show. But the line that everyone took away from that was that stuck in my craw especially was when Vince dropped it was the second day of a long weekend, so we were running low on ice.
It's true.
It's very Canadian.
The ice out of the Caesars.
And now we can now reveal, because it's been aired on TSN now, why we were in Edmonton the second last time for the Blue Jackets game, because we were there to shoot a Coke Zero commercial with Jordan Eberle.
That's right. Yes, we and now that commercial will premiere because the podcast. Will this podcast, Mike Gentili and Christoph, will this podcast be up Wednesday night?
Thursday.
Okay, so that's good. So by then, the new commercial will have
the
premiere.
people have already seen it by now.
It'll premiere Wednesday. It premiered Wednesday night, so it should be all over TSN by now. Yeah, it's a Coke Zero commercial. The premise was, so you've seen all this stuff about Kevin Wheeler all over the place, right? Everyone's like, who's this Kevin Wheeler guy? And Eberle's been tweeting about it, Toolsy, me, and then it's all over TSN. So Kevin Wheeler was a kid who had this great story that Coke Zero found out about, where he was late for a hockey tournament. His mom was driving him to the hockey tournament. She was speeding. A cop stopped him, found out that he was late for a hockey tournament, and let him go, and then proceeded to tell him where all the rest of the speed traps were. He made it to the hockey tournament and scored the winning goal.
And we got to play the police officers in said skit, and Jordan Eberle played Wheeler. So, Eberle, what a great guy. I can't say enough about him. My favorite moment of the shoot was when we approached the car after pulling them over, and the first time I walk up to the side of the car, Eberle's like doing his best at acting. He's like, he looks over at Jay. He's like, yeah, sorry, officer. Looks over at me, and I'm just staring and goes, I can't look at you. I can't look at you.
We squeezed like a 3-day shoot into one day, basically. It was like a long, long shoot. But man, awesome crew. We had a great time. Catering was good. My favorite part though.
Catering was good.
Hey, gotta have priorities. My favorite part though, we were going from from one of the shoot sites. It was a house, and we were going to the site where we were gonna pretend to stop Eberle in the car, and so it was me in the front seat in my cop outfit, Toolsy in the back seat, and we were in like an old cop car. And one of the guys,
but we weren't driving.
We weren't driving, but one of the guys on the set was driving us. So we pull up to this intersection, and there's these 2 like 10-year-old kids standing on the corner, and I just like casually roll down my window, and I'm like, "Stay in school," and they're like, "Okay."
And then they're like, why is a kid driving 2 cops? And why is the one cop in the back?
Oh, good times.
Yeah,
I love
it was a
Edmonton.
blast.
Yeah, no, we had fun too at Central Social Hall. It was great.
I know this, I've already said this to you a million times, but Edmonton Airport, hello, just awesome now. I was blown away by it. The renovations there, it's a crown jewel of the Canadian airports now.
Crown jewel of the prairies. You should maybe be a spokesperson. Hi, I'm Dan O'Toole for the Edmonton International Airport. You want to get yourself... Well, but the thing is, you and I tried to have a steak at, what was it, Houston Steakhouse?
Yeah.
I remember, like, we both ordered steaks, and so I have, like a knife and a butter knife. I'm like, oh, crap, they didn't give me a steak knife. So I call the waitress over. I'm like, can I get a steak knife? She's like, no, you're past security now. I can't give you a steak knife. I'm like, they opened a steakhouse in a place where you can't have steak knives?
And they should immediately tell you. She must have to answer that same thing to every single person.
Yeah, like, shouldn't it say it like on her T-shirt? No steak knives. You're past security. Like, do they really think we're going to take the steak knives and are you going to open your NOS?
Let's crack that.
Oh. And NOS, of course, made by Coca-Cola, and so we thank Coca-Cola for hiring us for the commercial. I think it turned out well. I still haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure it was great.
Cabby saw it, and he came up to me yesterday and said we were hilarious in it.
He didn't come up to me.
Yeah,
I didn't see him.
I don't think he thought you were as good as I was.
I did one line. But they used a throw-off line where I said, let's hit it or something. I'm like, get out of here. Hit, I don't know.
Try it again. Let's vamoose. Oh, can we hear that again? One more time. Oh, that's a snort. That's a snort. Oh, I love
that is. Oh, and an update on the
Susie.
raccoon coat. I was in my hometown of Peterborough, Ontario the other day. I went to the Peterborough Theatre Guild, knocked on the door because I was going to get a picture.
Just hold on. The Peterborough Theatre Guild.
I was going
Sir
to.
Laurence Olivier is Hamlet.
I was going to get a picture in the raccoon coat. No one was there, though, so I got to find out when they're open. My mom said she's going to find out for me.
Peterborough Theatre Guild, Jan speaking. Yeah, we've got a bunch of raccoon fur coats here.
My mom says her name's in the lining, though, so it'll be easy to find.
That's awesome. The Peterborough Theatre Guild. Do you think there's a full-time employee all day and all night at the Peterborough Theatre Guild?
Oh, no chance. And I had a, I told these people I would read this tweet on the podcast because they kind of did a podcast measurement for us. Excuse me.
Oh, here we go. Do we have Old Man Toolsy?
Old man Toolsy.
Every time I cough or sneeze now, it feels like I'm going to puke.
Well, last night we showed who was it? Kostas Koufas of the Golden State Warriors when I think it was Steph Curry hit a three
And his pants fell
His
down.
pants just fell down, like randomly fell down. And Toolsy hadn't seen it, and you had a very, very similar moment to this.
Old man Toolsy.
I thought you were going to die.
I need that checked out. So at HDaddy72 sent us this. In case you're wondering, the drive from Kelowna, BC to Toronto is about 29 podcasts long. Hashtag time killer. Hashtag.
Wow, so that's a 29-hour... Well, I guess some of the podcasts have been an hour and a half, eh? We've been going... I sound very Canadian there for our American viewers. I say a lot. Hey, Why
not, eh?
It's fun to say. On the way back from Edmonton, I was on a different flight than you.
You were?
And because I was supposed to come back early...
Hey, you flew to Vancouver, then back to Toronto. His plane got struck by lightning on the way to the airport.
Yeah, I was on the way to the airport. I was on the way because I had to go back early because I had to get to a wedding that night. And I was my girlfriend's family was having a wedding. I was going to meet a bunch of her family. It's very important to her. So I was like, yeah, I'll come back early. I'm going to get up early. So I get up, head out to the airport. The WestJet lady's like, your plane was struck by lightning. She's like, you're not going to get into Toronto until 1 a.m. I'm like, really? Okay, this is going to be a fun travel day. So I went to Calgary, then to Vancouver, then to Toronto. I might as well have gone to Hawaii for the day.
I left 6 hours, so I had a nice sleep in, went and met my old boss, had a big lunch, went to the airport nice and early because you know my love for the Edmonton airport now.
Yeah, you're obsessed.
Nice leisurely day. I left 6 hours, I believe, after Jay, and I beat him home.
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic, really.
WestJet is great on evening flights because
Well, Saturday night it was
live
awesome.
sporting events to watch for the entire flight. When we flew out there, daytime television, it's a bit lacking.
Wow.
After the morning loop's over.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're slamming our own show.
No, there's Dr. Phil. There's Anderson Cooper's show was on.
I'm going to tell Melissa.
D.L. Hughley was on it.
I'm going to tell Melissa Grello you said that because The Social is coming to CTV this fall.
Well, it's not there yet.
Oh, well, it will be, and you'll be like, oh, this is garbage. Grells. No, I liked it, and I was watching the Leaf Habs game when Don Cherry made his comment about women not being. I just love Ron McLean's reaction. It was so good. Oh, that poor guy.
WestJet, one complaint. Could you make your screens bigger than a wallet?
Oh, how big are they supposed to make them?
A bit bigger.
There's no, you can't.
I want them bigger.
There's impossible to do
No.
that. You know what they're taking off?
I'm an old man.
I think they're taking out a lot of screens and planes now because everyone's got their iPads.
I don't like iPads.
You're the only man on the planet who doesn't like iPads.
Don't like it.
Why don't you like it?
I'm an old man. Someone sent me a laptop and I like it. It's an HP laptop.
Do you still have a Microsoft Zune?
No, I have an HP laptop. So it's got a keyboard, but also a touch screen. So you're typing, you just flick it with your finger. You don't have to go back to a keyboard and stuff.
Yeah, we know how a touch screen works.
No, but it's got a keyboard. It's a laptop.
I know.
It's not like an iPad.
Old man Toolsy.
You're like with your abacus in your seat, like just counting numbers and adding and subtracting.
So way to go, HP. I'm on your side.
That's right. Maybe going out of business, but I'll be there with
Are
you
they?
till the bitter end. No, I think they're fine. The other thing,
No, they're fine, yeah.
on the Vancouver to Toronto flight, the stewardess came back. She said the pilots are big fans of you.
Struck by lightning.
Yeah, the pilots are dead. Could you fly this plane for us? And she said, big fans of you guys. I said, oh, thanks. That's great. And then throughout the flight, when the pilot would get on the PA and sort of announce, we've hit 34,000 feet. It's a clear day. We should be getting you in a couple of minutes ahead of time. And then I'd hear the other pilot, Bobrovsky!
Oh, did he?
Every time. And I kind of look around, did anyone get that? No one got it. So I was like, I guess that's just for me then.
There was something on our show the other night. Very well done by the NHL and TSN crew.
Oh, yeah. This was hilarious.
It's sweeping the nation. The panel does the hangover.
The NHL on TSN hangover. So many things to discuss here. What was your favorite? If you haven't seen it, go to the TSN Canada YouTube page. You can see it there. So it's James Duthie in the Bradley Cooper role, Darren Dreger in the Ed Helms role, our good friend and TSN producer Rick Hodgson, who was on this podcast, remember, defending Living by the Water. He is the Zach Galifianakis guy. A lot of people thought he was actually Zach Galifianakis, but that's him. And then, of course, Wardo was in it, a bunch of LA Kings, Eric Stone Street from Modern Family. Toolsy's favorite part, and I have to agree with him, was the 24 hours earlier when Duthie and Dreger
Dreger's dancing
in the nightclub.
at the table.
Just casually dancing. Oh, my God, that's amazing.
I watched it 5 times today. Now, in Dreger's defense, it looks like they're like, okay, ready to call action, and he's just like getting into character. And then you can see where he's like, okay, now we're taping. And then he kind of stops it.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was classic. And Duthie and Kopitar kind of gave me a little this.
You guys never miss a game. Is O'Toole gonna host?
I like Kopitar's laugh is so good. Can we hear that one more time, Christoph?
You guys never miss a game. Is O'Toole gonna host?
That's so good.
So as soon as that aired,
Oh my God, Kopitar's laugh is amazing.
as soon as that aired, I get people. How does it feel being ridiculed on the NHL and TSN? I'm like, I liked it. You just got punked. Okay, I enjoyed it. I laughed uproariously.
Why is that so great? Kopitar, the worst actor of all time, maybe even worse than Gretzky.
Drager was pretty bad.
Oh, Drager was gold, though. Oh, I loved it. And then I loved Wardo. So make sure you watch the outtakes. I loved Wardo making fun of him himself, calling the Iginla trade to Boston. I liked Drager saying, "Sand in my butt cheeks, confirmed." I liked all of it. It was great. And the man who is responsible for producing it is our good friend, another friend of ours who's been on the podcast before, Matt Cade. And Matt was a part of the... Now, are they still doing that podcast, the Prospects podcast? Yes. Draft Center podcast with Matt Cade and Greg Button.
You remember Cade because last and only time he was on, a lot of people compared his voice to someone very popular Hollywood actor.
What do you mean I gotta give 2 weeks notice? What? Damn freaking no good mother... Jeez! No, not you. I'm just talking to my oven.
Cade, you there?
I'm here. I'm fighting a bit of a cold, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to... If this is going to enhance the James Woods thing or if it's going to ruin it.
Oh, no, it sounds spot on.
You're still very Woods-esque, Cade.
Thank you.
So, this is one thing that people might not know. So, the guy who played the Zach Galifianakis character, Rick Hodgson, one of our producers, you and he are good pals. Was that your initial sort of... Was that the springboard for this idea, for this feature? Because you produced this feature. Was that when you knew how much he looked like Zach Galifianakis, were you like, I have something here?
You know what? It didn't even get to me. James was already on that. I think initially the idea came up. If I remember correctly, I think it was Billy Dodson who sort of suggested the idea.
And then, Billy Dodson is our NHL on TSN studio producer.
Correct. Yes. And then once James had the idea, of course, the genius that he is, he just he ran with it. And I think it was James who immediately said, "We got to bring Rick." So I didn't even get a chance to push for him, but of course I would have, because everyone thinks that. There were people who, I'm sure you heard the stories from Rick. People coming up to us in LA, they thought it was Zach Galifianakis, as if he would be out in LA wearing the T-shirt,
just looking for attention.
Yeah. No, it was incredible. It was incredible.
So at the end of the piece, you see the kind of like the Hangover credits. You see the still shots of the guys with Mary Hart, Eric Stonestreet from Modern Family, Matthew Perry. How are you able to get all these people to make the cameos?
Again, it's basically James. He first of all, he wrote the entire thing, or 98% of it, and also that's the genius of it. But he also made it happen because of the kind of guy he is and everything. So we had a little bit of help with the Kings with Matthew Perry. That one was was a little bit set up, but James basically we when we got to the game that first night, we were in Los Angeles for 2 days, and the first night they were playing, we went down to the game, and we had heard that Mary Hart was there, and James just approached her and said, what do you think? And she agreed. She was great. Everybody was great. Matthew Perry was great. Eric Stonestreet and Keith Powell, who's twofer on 30 Rock, they were all for it. And not to mention the Kings, they were great too. But they each kind of developed a little bit differently. The Kings really helped with Matthew Perry, and Mary Hart. James approached, and then Stonestreet and Twofer, they were at the game together, and we just. Stonestreet and Powell, I should say.
Stonestreet and Twofer would be a good cop show.
Yeah. They were. We just saw them kind of in the bowels of the arena, and James just went up to them and sort of explained what we were doing, and they were like all for it. So
Stonestreet's a huge hockey fan, because I believe it was at the NHL Awards in Las Vegas that he went up to Bob McKenzie and took their picture and tweeted it out.
That's exactly right. And we had, we didn't have the T-shirt out when we saw those guys. Everything happened so quickly. As soon as you see them, you just try and take the picture as quickly as they can before they run away and before they realize what's happening. But that's correct. He told that story actually while we were there. So.
Anže Kopitar.
Yes.
Great actor or greatest actor ever?
I would probably say, my favorite part in the whole thing is probably Mackenzie. I think everyone says Dreger steals the show, but I think Mackenzie's line is just delivered so perfectly. But Kopitar, great actor for sure, and man, was he into it too. It was great. He spent the most time with us out of any of the players, and he nailed it, I thought.
Did Kopitar have LA Kings emblems or logos in his car seats?
He did, and actually, I didn't even notice that. It was I watched that thing so many damn times before it aired, and it was about the last time I watched it that someone actually pointed that out to me, and I'd seen it so much. But yes, on the seat of his car, he did.
I have TSN logos in my Honda Civic.
It doesn't seem like the same kind of thing.
No, not quite as cool.
Yeah.
Well, very well done. It's a hit on the internet.
Yeah, well, thanks. I appreciate that, and overwhelmingly positive response for sure. And one of the common refrains of the comments that I saw when I was kind of scanning them was, one of the complaints was that Andre and O'Toole should have been involved somehow. So
now let's get to the point. The part where Anže and Duthie. Can we play it one more time? We'll play it here for Matt. This is my favorite part in the whole thing, when Anže and Duthie are discussing the possibility of O'Toole hosting.
Yeah.
You guys never miss a game. Is O'Toole going to host?
Oh, that's great. Now, was O'Toole your first choice as the person to use to ridicule?
No, actually, I can fill in this answer because I talked to Duthie after I said, hey, thanks for including my name. He says, well, tell Onright. We were going to say O'Toole and Onright, but it didn't work right.
There you go.
It just sounded weird.
I think it's better with O'Toole.
Just O'Toole, yeah, I agree.
Did you trash an actual hotel room, or is that someone's condo, or did you just trash it very lovingly?
Yeah, I would. That's a good way to put it. I was going to say in quotes we trashed it, but we sort of carried things delicately, and then right after we finished that shoot, we put everything pretty much back to where it was, other than a few cheesies on the floor.
Any plans for a sequel?
Well, the demand, the people are demanding it already on, as you say, Dan, on the internet. So, God, this is the most fun I've had. So I would gladly do it again.
In your life?
In my life, absolutely, yes.
We're going to play this for your children someday.
Oh yeah, I already did. In fact, my son Nathan, my 3-year-old, I wasn't with him in the car today, but he rolled down the window and screamed Luongo out the window, unprompted.
So you just play them the TSN version of The Hangover and say, be more like this?
That's it. That's basically it. Yeah, this is what you want to aim for in your life. That's what that's the kind of father I am.
Hey, before we let you go, the Draft Center podcast, you guys are obviously ramping up, getting ready for the draft. Is that right?
Yeah. We've only done it's been a lot of fun, but we've just schedule-wise, it's been tricky. It's sort of, the third or fourth priority for each of Craig Button and myself. But, he was over in Europe at the under-18s, and so we haven't done one for about a month, but we're hopefully going to do one again this week or next week, and as we get closer to the draft, for sure, we'll be doing some more episodes. I think we've only done 9 so far, so looking forward to that big number 10.
Well, we're looking forward to it too, Cater. Thanks for joining us on the show, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Pleasure, guys. Take care.
Matt Cade, so we just have his voice fresh in our minds. Can we hear the
yeah,
James
let's go back
Woods
to
again?
James Woods.
What do you mean I gotta give 2 weeks' notice? What? Damn freaking no good mother... Jeez! No, not you. I'm just talking to my oven.
Cade missed his calling in radio.
Yeah, Cade's got a good... Wow, Cade's hosting a podcast.
But full-time. He says it's his third priority. It should be his first.
After what? The Hangover and Duthie? Not even his kids. His kids are like 6, 7. Oh, Kopitar. Seems like a good guy. I like him. We should also mention...
He's losing his accent.
It's pretty much there.
He hasn't lost it like Nick Lidstrom. Nick Lidstrom accent was gone.
The Swedes have no accent. Yeah,
the Swedes do lose it pretty quick.
I mean, it depends. Like Sedin, the Sedins kind of still have a little bit. Sundin still had a little bit. But like Peter Forsberg, it was like gone. It was like he grew up in Omaha. Lidstrom, it was gone. And Gabriel Landeskog. Like, I know he spent his junior years in Kitchener and stuff, but still, he grew up in Sweden. Like, he's got no accent.
Patrick Waz got stronger and stronger throughout his career, his French accent. It was very odd.
By the way, Dan, there's a raccoon. Someone sent a picture to me. There's a raccoon coat for sale on Kijiji if you wanted to buy your mom something for Mother's Day.
She gave it away already. I don't think she wants it back.
No, she's gonna. Maybe she feels like she made a mistake, and this is your chance to rectify that.
So we're gonna have to get Vince O'Toole back on because after I said, hey, he didn't really care that he was a hit on the podcast. I'm like sending him Twitter comments. He's like, yeah,
Right.
whatever. I don't care.
He's indifferent to his fame.
So then he started jogging my memory about other things that have happened to the O'Toole kids while growing up. So it's we could have a whole podcast about O'Toole near tragedies.
Like at the Central Social Hall, again, half the comments were about how much everyone loved Vince O'Toole on the podcast. Again, Dulcie, how about Vince and Taggart? Let's throw them on a podcast together.
Vinny O'Toole just talking for an hour.
Just talking about his cell phone contract.
Oh, he's got a new one. He's got a new cell
he does?
phone.
Oh, he picked one up?
Yeah.
That's so fun. Yeah, now we have to have him on for sure.
I think he has a 10 now.
An M. Wasn't he missing an M?
No, what? The BlackBerry 10.
Oh, BlackBerry 10. I thought you were talking about the digit.
He's got a 10. No, he was missing an M.
Well, I didn't know if it was was it the Q10 or the Z10?
The Z is the one with the key. No, Z is the touch. Q is the type.
When are you getting your BlackBerry, by the way,
I've
Tulsi?
been told it was sitting there ready for me. It was 2 months ago.
Yeah, but wasn't that around the time that Duthie left
Duthie's left the network?
No, sorry. Cebulski left the network?
That might be a dream come true. Seaball's left the network?
Remember when Seaballs left, they had ordered him a new BlackBerry, and you were like, I need a new phone. They're like, yeah, we'll give you Seaball's phone. It's on the way in.
Yeah, and then I said, can you get me the Q, the one with the keypad? No, it's here. It's here. It's ready for you. That was 2 months ago.
Someone's been using it. Probably missing an M or a 10.
Heck! But as someone pointed out, my brother sent us a message after, and it contained the word mud in it. They said, shouldn't there have been an M missing?
That's a good point.
I said, hey, come on, you can't take away from the bit.
It's a good point. I have to say, I'm using these Grand and Toy permanent markers, and man, they stink up the room, and I am high. I am so high right now.
High five!
Oh, boy, this is going right to my head.
Borat? Is Borat done?
You mean Sacha Baron Cohen?
Is he done?
No, he's playing Freddie Mercury in a movie, isn't he?
Oh, okay.
I think that's what he's doing next. And
But he can't surprise humans anymore.
I think he's done surprising humans. Hey, surprise! Yeah, I know you.
Why not, eh?
Our guy. Oh, Borat. Yep, it's Borat again. Yeah.
Why not, eh?
I get it. Like, we all know who you are.
You'd have to go somewhere where they have no TV.
Oh, I
I think it's almost time for our first guest. Well, our second.
Yes, our second guest of the week. So I'm fascinated by this because he didn't write the book. Dan Murphy wrote it, and Sean sort of told stories. That sounds like fun. I'd like to start being a ghostwriter.
It always brings up, again, I'm sorry for mentioning Seinfeld. I shouldn't apologize for mentioning Seinfeld. But Kramer selling his stories to Jay Peterman.
Hey, Kramer. Yeah. Ramirez has never heard your pants story.
Oh, okay. Well, I had Bob Sacamato on the phone, and I suddenly realized that
You can't tell that story now. It belongs to Peterman.
Exactly. Let's ask him if that's exactly how the deal came about.
Sean Pronger for the bio on Sean Pronger. You know who his brother is. Sean played 260 games in the NHL, racked up 59 points, 23 of those goals. He played for, I don't think we have that much time on the podcast to go through the teams he played for. Let's do it. San Diego Gulls, the Greensboro Monarchs, the Knoxville Cherokees, the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, Baltimore Bandits. That team doesn't exist anymore. That was in the AHL. The Pittsburgh Penguins, the Houston Aeros, the New York Rangers, the LA Kings, the Providence Bruins, the Boston Bruins, the Manitoba Moose, the Syracuse Crunch, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Manitoba Moose, the Vancouver Canucks, and the Frankfurt Lions. Sean, do you have a jersey from every one of those teams?
I wish I would have thought that far ahead and saved one because could have filled my house. But I have a handful left. I don't know exactly where they are, but I do have a handful of jerseys.
So, in most of those stops, were you living in hotels or just a bus depot?
Exactly. I just rented a camper and that thing.
At one point, though, you were playing in the ECHL and you were living in a house that had no heat or hydro or water, correct?
Yeah, it was a farmhouse about 30 miles outside of Knoxville. We got a good deal in that place, Phil.
Weren't they going to tear it down?
Yeah. We didn't. Again, there's probably a theme you'll find. I didn't really think too far ahead, and all we heard was it was going to be free for the season, and we jumped on it. And then, had we done a little bit of research, we'd have found that there's no heat, no cable, slight rodent problem. It was. I mean, we shouldn't have done it. We saw this big barn, and all we thought was we're going to have some massive parties in this thing. And as it turns out, we never actually did have any parties in the big barn, and it was a tough first year.
See, this same thing came up when we were talking to Jason Strudwick, because I mentioned how I went to see my buddy when he was playing on Long Island. There was 4 or 5 of them living in a house, and you walk in and you open up door after door, and you're like, "Is this a crack house?" But I guess before you get established, and if you don't have a girlfriend or a wife, you're just going from house to house and trying to find roommates to fill it up.
No, totally. As I got older, I told all the young guys, keep, whatever you do, try to keep it down to 3 bags, an SUV, so at a moment's notice, you can leave and be out the door. And when you're young and you're just trying to establish yourself in whatever league it is, you're going to, usually crash with a few guys in the team and try not to acquire too many pieces of furniture because you got to have to get rid of them somehow.
It's funny,
so
Sean.
Lean and mean.
But it's funny because Dan and I feel the same way. We have 3 bags packed at all times right next to the Sports Center set. And
I still have a bag packed for whatever reason. I don't even know why. I just pack a bag, put it by the door with my passport in it for no reason.
My first 6 years in broadcasting, I was able to move with just garbage bags. So I just throw them on the Greyhound.
Garbage bags?
Yeah, I threw my stuff in the garbage. I moved into furnished apartments, so I just moved with my clothes in garbage bags.
Did you throw suits into there?
I didn't wear suits. I was in radio.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Now you're big time, right? Now you got someone to handle your luggage.
Whoa.
He wishes he has someone.
That's what she said.
There you go.
I don't even know what that means. Now, I just started reading your book. Dan Murphy sent me a copy, and he said, now get him on. He wanted me to read it in one night.
We try to keep the syllables down to a minimum, so you probably could get away with reading it one night.
I want you to tell the story about, though, when you got traded to L.A., team was on a major slide, players-only meeting. I think you guys were asked to write something on paper, what was wrong with the team. How did that go down?
Well, you gotta imagine, I just got there, and I'm in this kind of, we're in a storm and we can't get out of it. So guys, the captains call a meeting and they think, okay, we've had the rah meeting. Now we need to let's get right down to the bone. What is the problem with this team? And so they tell everybody, all right, whatever you guys think is the problem, write it down on a piece of paper and we're going to get in a room and we're going to read it. You don't have to put your name to it. We just let's find out what's bothering you guys. So, of course, the coward that I am, I'm like, I think we need to really just pull together, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, Ray Ferraro took it upon himself to just call a guy out and then sign as only Ray could do it, and then sign his name. So we got Rob Blay, you got all these Hall of Famers in there, and they're, pulling out thing, we need to work on our power play, pull out another, kind of note card. Oh, we got to work on our penalty kill, et cetera, et cetera. And then you get to this one. I think Steve Duchesne is the problem. Oh my God, yeah. And I was just sitting there. It was like day 5. I just got to LA, and it was my 4th team that year. And I don't know what was going on. And I'm like thinking, okay, I got a fresh start. And I walk into this, and I got Larry Robinson's a coach who I grew up idolizing, and it was just an awesome situation, I thought. And then I walk into this thing, and it was like, oh my God, what is going on here?
You got to tell us a story about Ferraro, the chicken parm, the little ball of hate.
So he was very determined. I'll say that. It's funny. I remember him walking in the room. All 5'9" of them.
I think that's generous.
I think Landon, who was I don't know how old, but very young. But it was so funny to watch them both walk in. Just very the walk is. He walks the way he is, very determined, very methodical, and very angry, and just kind of would. He was a great guy to have on your team, as long as you were pulling your weight and you weren't Steve Duchesne.
Also, the fourth man on the pile in the Bertuzzi night.
Yeah, that was quite the event. Still not quite sure how that's going to play out, but that was. As it turns out, 2 careers were ended that night. It was Steve Moore and mine. That was my last NHL game.
Really? That Bertuzzi Steve Moore incident was your last game?
Yes.
But by coincidence, or how did that?
Well, I don't know. I like to think they're trying to keep me quiet, but no one's approached me to pay me off or anything. So.
Wow. So would you like to confess now, Sean? I mean, feel free. This is a safe place. I'm
just telling you, my testimony can be bought. That's all I'm saying. I can go either way. I can tell 2 different stories. No, it was obviously an unfortunate situation. I feel bad for Steve Moore. I mean, what happened to him, and I feel bad for Todd because I'm positive that was not his intention. It was just he got caught up in the moment, and it was a horrific thing that happened, and it was just it was so weird. I mean, it was awful to be a part of it and be there. I was on the ice for it. I was on the pile of it, and it just was like the rest of the game was. It was kind of just played in the days because guys just couldn't believe what happened. And ironically, I was on the pile, so I'm on top of Bertuzzi. And as they're pulling bodies out, I got off. And the next time I saw Bertuzzi was 4 years later in the Anaheim Ducks practice rink when he signed with Anaheim. Like they ushered him, so he got off the ice, out of the dressing room, out of the building, and I never saw him again until 4 years later. So it was weird because I got ushered out of the game was over and it was a trade deadline the very next day was the trade deadline, and they picked up, a couple players. I think Jeff Sanderson and Mark Bergman were picked up, and they called me in to it and gave me the song that I've heard way too many times, We're Sending You Down. So that was my last, NHL game. And, so I never saw Bertuzzi till 4 years later.
And when you saw him, did you guys discuss it, or?
I just kind of looked at it and said, I saw you. And he kind of chuckled. And then my brother was in the room, too, because he was playing for the Ducks. And the two of them kind of made a joke, because now they're playing together. And they're like, I think we've pretty much got the entire NHL covered as far as who's going to boo. I mean, the whole league will boo us between him. It was going to be a coin flip to see who got booed more, but him or my brother or Bertuzzi.
Now, we mentioned the resume that you've had, all the teams that you've played for, and you just brought up the words that you never want to hear. Who delivered the news that you were being traded or sent down the best, and who delivered it the worst?
I gotta think it was Neil Smith was the best. I was in New York. I was in the lineup maybe every other night. And if I was in the lineup, I was playing, 2 minutes. I think one game I actually played 0 minutes, which is pretty hard. I was just waiting to get the call, we're sending you down. So I'm not playing this particular game since Carolina, and the PR guy I think came down. I'm riding the bike in the locker room while the team's out playing, and I get finished, I get my suit on, and the PR guy's like, Sean, Neil wants to see you. And I'm just like, all right, here it goes. So I guess you could tell I was just expecting the worst, and he's like, it's not what you think. And I'm like, all right. So then I go up to the press box, or not press box, but it was a box in Madison Square Garden. And Neil is sitting there. I don't know if this guy, Neil Smith, most passionate, general manager I've ever seen. He lives and dies with every win. So we're up there, and he's like, Sean, I just want to let you know, appreciate you, all you've done for the team, blah blah blah. We've traded you to the LA Kings, and I was just taken I'm still in the NHL. I was so happy to get in the league. He's looking at me like, what? Why are you smiling? So anyway, he gives me the news. I'm like, all right, and he's like, Sean, what do you what do you think? He's asking me now what I think is wrong with the Rangers. And, we got an all-star lineup. We got Gretzky, Graves, Leach, Kevin Stevens, John McClain. I mean, you go down the list, we got an all-star team, and as of then running the playoffs. And as he's asking me what I think the problem with the team is, Carolina scores, and he crumples into it, and he's like, just like a little kid, like, oh, Christ. And that was the end of it. But it was, he probably delivered the news the best. I got to think, I hate saying it because I love the guy, but the late Pat Burns probably did it the worst. I walked in, and it was probably not so much him as it was the whole Bruins organization, where they kind of just, there was no communication. So we played a game in Buffalo and got blown out. It was 5-0 or 6-0, which is never good when you're a journeyman. It's just something's got to change, and we're the easiest guys to get shuffled. So I figured something was up, but no one called me, no one told me anything. We have a back-to-back game the next night in Boston. And I kept waiting for the phone to ring, nothing. I'm in the hotel, nothing. All right, I guess I'm playing. Because there's no pregame skate or anything. So I go to the rink, I got my suit on, I go into the locker room, all the guys are kind of in there getting their stuff on. I go to where my gear was, and it's a completely different name, jersey, equipment. I'm like, so then I go to the trainer, I'm like, hey, dude, where's my stuff? And he's like, have you talked to Brindy yet?
No.
And I'm like, no. Why don't you tell me? He's like, you know what? Go talk to Pat. I'm like, all right. Do the walk of shame across the room again. Everybody knows. All the players know what's going on. I'm the last to find out, and it's a lonely feeling. So I walk over there. Burnsy's like, oh, hey, Prunk, come on in here. He pulls me into the training room. Yeah, we put you on waivers, and we're sending back to Providence. I'm like, thank you.
Wow, so everyone probably just had their head down, not making eye contact. Oh, that must have been horrible.
Right, and it's an awful feeling, and as a player watching a guy go through it, it's awful, and so you don't want him to see it because those guys knew what was going on. I mean, they don't move my gear completely out of the dressing room.
Now you mentioned the Rangers with big deal Neil Smith, and it wasn't all bad news for you there because you did play on a line with Gretzky once, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I played on a line with Gretzky in practice on purpose. They actually put me there. Little did I know that it was just probably the bingo ball that came up of the fifth line guys. But I was not 100% for that practice. I want to say that. I was slightly under the weather. Had a few too many beers the night before because me and Darren Langdon anchored the fifth line in New York. Probably one of the all-time greatest fifth lines ever.
Fifth line.
The blue, red, and white of New York Rangers. My usual drill would be, I'd go to practice. I'd be the only center between us, or I'd play defense. I mean, whatever. I just fill in. I was like a scrub, and so I finally got sick of it. So one of my best friends growing up from Dryden, Ontario, who's now living in New York. There's me and my wife and him decided, okay, let's go. Let's see what this town's got. So we went big. And I think I got home at 5:30 in the morning. I had to get up at 7:30 to get to practice. And I walk in to the dressing room thinking, okay, well, I'll just go through I'll do my usual thing because I was, I'd get ready for practice out. I mean, I was like an Ironman triathlete. I was the amount of off-ice work I do. I mean, I'd have the guys design me a special bike program, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be ready when I get my chance. Little did I know I'm going to get my chance at practice, and I show up, I'm hungover. So now I'm hungover. Now I walk in the room, I'm hungover, and something's off. I'm looking around the room like, what? Did we get a new player? And I go to my stall, and I'm like, something's not right. I get the wrong, that's not my stuff. So I keep walking around, and I'm like, no, that's not my gear. I go back to the jersey, because normally the fifth line wears the yellow jersey. And I had a red jersey in my stall, and I'm like, this is not right, because Gretzky, the first line, wears the red jersey. So then I'm thinking, all right, well, they gave me the wrong jersey. So then I went to the trainer, Mike Fogelin, and I hucked the jersey out. I'm like, dude, were you messing with me? I go, hey, you gave me the wrong jersey. And he hucked it right back at me. He's like, no, I didn't. And now my heart is in my throat. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, Kevin Stevens is sick today. You're practicing with Gretzky. And I just want to fall on my knees and I go, no, my idol. Growing up, Wayne Gretzky, I get to practice with him, and I'm literally still drunk. So So now I'm panicking. I'm like, okay, do I tell him? What do I do? Maybe I should just fake a groin injury. And I'm like, no, suck it up. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to tell him. So I walk up to him, and I said, Wayne, approximately today. He's like, who are you? No. And I'm like, Wayne, approximately today. He's like, okay. I'm like, I just feel I should tell you that I've been a late night and maybe a couple too many beers. He's like, hey, Prongs, don't worry about it. I've been there. And I'm like, okay. I go, yeah, so maybe just, try to keep the puck away from me. Like, yeah, no problem. And I'm telling the greatest passer of all time, my childhood idol, not to pass me the puck. I'm like, God, I'm an idiot. So then we get out to practice. So then I go shower. I'm trying everything I can do to try to just get through this situation. So, ice cold shower, cold tub, whatever. I get on the ice and I'm like, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe something will happen. Somehow we'll connect. Me and Gretz, the two of us. Even though I'm playing my off wing, I love Graves was not moving off the left wing, so I'm playing my offside, left-hand shot, playing the right wing. That's okay because Gutsy's going to lob him over to me nicely if he does pass to me. Well, I kid you not, every single puck was over to me, and not nothing. It wasn't nice and flat either. These were like grenades coming over at me, and pucks were bouncing in the stand. I mean, it was an hour-long embarrassment. I'm lucky I survived that practice. At the end of the practice, I skated over to him. I was like, hey, Wayne, I'm sorry. He's like, Prongs, you know what? I probably could have gave you better passes.
That's great.
And I'm like, you ass. That's awesome.
He took the blame.
He did it on purpose. He was messing with me.
I know. Sean, before we let you go, we can't let you go without asking how your brother's doing, Chris.
I spent some time with him a couple weeks ago, and he seems to be doing all right. But he probably hides it from me. I mean, it's not easy for him, a guy like who's that competitive and who's been that good for that long to just kind of this is his kind of time of year, so it's going to be a tough going not being able to play. But from a health standpoint, I think he's making progress. It's certain things that he still can't do. I mean, he can't get his heart rate up a certain level. He can't, move his head quick. His peripheral is gone. So he's, it's just one of those things. It's a terrible injury, and it's frustrating when your body works, but something that you can't see is off. So he's getting better every day, but he's still, it's still going to be hard for him. I think, especially this playoffs. I think last year it was, so new that he just was so bad that it wasn't even a thought to play, and then now that he can he has more of his wits about him, it's I think this playoff will be tougher.
Sean, we thank you a lot for coming on, and best of luck with the book.
All right, well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Had a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Sean Pronger, the book is Journeyman, the many triumphs and even more numerous defeats of a guy who's seen just about everything in the game of hockey. I just started reading it now, and it's one of those ones where you pick up, you're like, okay, I'll read one more chapter, but then you can't put it down. So we thank him for coming on.
I love when players write so quickly after they finish playing, because you're getting, you're getting their version of events, but you're getting, authentic stuff. It's real, and he has such an interesting journey, the way he's,
exactly.
He is the journeyman.
It's a story that you wouldn't expect to be told in a book. So these are the guys who see all the behind the scenes stuff. They see everything.
And so fascinating for a guy like that to have a brother who, was just this legend, like this Hall of Famer, lock in the Hall of Fame, and then just sort of play in his shadow. And then at the end of Chris's career to see him get injured like this and probably end his career. God, just so devastating. It's terrible how this sport can end it for someone like that. So, but he was funny, man. He was real. That was a great story about Gretzky.
I didn't know he played for that many teams.
That is a lot of teams. That is a lot. I mean, just the NHL teams alone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
He moved every single year except maybe 2.
And then he ended up in Southern California. So I guess he had a lot of choices. He saw a lot of North America and decided that's where he was going to end up.
Didn't end up in Baltimore. The Baltimore Do you remember the Baltimore Bandits?
Oh, I was a huge fan. I loved that team. I also remember the Baltimore Stallions. Don Matthews coached them. Baltimore, The Wire. Hey, should we get into the TV themes of the week?
Let's do it.
Or should we call Taggart? I suppose we should give Taggart a call. Yeah, because Taggart likes to listen to the TV themes. Now we don't have Taggart in studio.
Might be more difficult with him on the phone though. Yeah, because we can't really hear it.
Okay, so let's do TV themes and then we'll talk to Taggart. Poor Gentili. Mike Gentili's like up and down and down.
Taggart's usually here, but we're taping on a different night, and
That's right.
it's things are in kind of chaos. With the NHL playoffs starting and yada yada yada.
Yeah, yada yada yada. We are we're having the launch party Wednesday night for our commercial. Yeah, our Coke Zero commercial. Yeah,
Ebbs isn't going to be there. Ebb and flow.
No, he's off to Sweden or maybe Finland.
The World Hockey Championships.
For the World Hockey Championships, so we won't be seeing Ebbs, unfortunately. We're going to try to get him on the show, but he's gone.
He's going to get on and talk about it later.
Hopefully his plane didn't get hit by lightning.
What TV theme?
Let's start with, you want to do yours first, Toolsy?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this show on my plane because one of the flights I took, and I sent a tweet about this, I took a flight we were in Regina doing something. I took a flight from Regina to Toronto, and I saw 3 different people go into the bathroom in bare feet on the plane.
That is disgusting.
It was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. And I sent a tweet and said, I just took a flight that reminded me of a modern day, really gross episode of the Flintstones.
Meet the Flintstones, they're the monochronic family. From the town of Bedrock, they're a page right out of his story. Let's ride with the family down the street, through the courtesy of Fred and Pete. When you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba dabba do time, a dabba do time, we'll have a gay old time.
Where's the Wilma at the end?
Wilma!
That was a terrible version of that.
So my daughter, she eats the Flintstone vitamins, and so she knew the characters before she even saw the cartoon. So I went to the retro cartoon channel. So now I PVR it for her so she can kind of see the characters.
So they still make Flintstone vitamins?
Oh, big time. They got Flintstone gummies. Flintstone gummies, or you can get the Flintstone hard chewables.
Flintstones is a great show. I love the Great Gazoo, and I remember it was always on at noon on CTV. Like it was always on, I think, everywhere. Was it like that in Ontario?
60 to 66. The show was made. They went for 166 episodes, which is a lot.
And it was like a Honeymooners ripoff, right? Like it was.
Yeah.
I'm just smelling my marker. Oh,
and
God,
people from Ontario or anyone in Canada that's been to Canada's Wonderland will remember that they used to have Hanna-Barbera Land when they were owned by someone else. They don't have Hanna-Barbera Land anymore.
Hanna-Barbera Land?
Yeah.
Yeah? Christoph is confirming
Poorly named section of the park.
That's just awful.
Because it was a Hanna-Barbera production, the Flintstone was.
Well, I remember in Kelowna, BC, where my folks live now, they had Flintstones Park. And I remember you'd go in and it'd just be awful. Just be... It's a bunch of smelly mascots dressed up as Fred and Wilma, and they'd have the cars and everything. You'd sit in the cars. There'd be nothing going on. You go in the houses, nothing happening. No rides, nothing.
Was it free?
No, you had to pay to get in.
Oh.
How do you think they kept the non-existent rides going?
Hanna-Barbera also produced the Yogi Bear Show.
Yeah, Jetsons, right?
Johnny Quest. Yeah, Jetsons, Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, they were a juggernaut of animation.
The Magilla Gorilla Show.
I don't remember that one, Toolsy.
The Smurfs.
Oh, the Smurfs. We haven't done Smurfs yet.
Huckleberry Hound.
Yeah.
And the Quick Draw McGraw Show.
That's a bunch of crap. Just a bunch of garbage. Let's do the next one. And the next one is a show that I had not seen for years. And then was flying back from on my, 7th flight of the day on Saturday.
I saw it on my flight, too.
Here it is. It was talk about a juggernaut in the 90s. This ruled TV.
No one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the old way. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, or even your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you. When the rain starts to pour, I'll be there for you.
Friends.
Why not, eh?
Those, the members of Friends, though, they never have to work another day in their life because they made 236 episodes. And they were making a lot of money in the last few seasons. A lot.
I always remember they banded together. They refused to negotiate separately, so they negotiated as a team. That's what Christoph and Mike and you and I are going to do someday, if we ever get a sponsor.
And Matthew Perry was just in our Hangover skit on the NHL and TSN, which we mentioned earlier in this podcast. So, good old Canadian boy from Ottawa.
Yeah, from Ottawa. He was wasn't he a nationally ranked tennis, like junior tennis player at some point? Or?
You know what'll tell me that answer? Bing. Get it? Because Chandler Bing?
That's a nice tie-in, Toolsy. Do you remember who sang that song, that Friends song?
The Rheostatics.
Pretty close. The Rembrandts.
I know it was
the Rembrandts.
It wasn't the Rheostatics.
I thought maybe it was
Canadian
the Gravelberries, but that was Mike Myers' brother's band.
Is it true they only had the jingle for the show and then it was such a big hit they're like, oh, let's make a whole song?
No, I'm pretty sure there was a song as soon as...
Okay. Which episode did you see? I saw the one where Chandler was trying to impregnate Courtney Cox, but he had got home from somewhere and he had smoked, and she's like, "You've been smoking."
Oh yeah, that was always his Achilles heel.
And then he said, "I only had one. I mean two. I mean 1 pack. I mean 2 cartons." And it just went on. I'm like, and people are just uproariously laughing in the studio audience.
Everyone loved it. Well, the weirdest thing about that show was like the first season, everyone looked good. And then like season 2, it came back, and Chandler, that was when Matthew Perry had a little bit of a problem with the drugs. And he came back, he looked skeletal. And that's an episode I saw. Like the clothes are hanging off his frame like he's a skeleton. It was frightening. Like it was like everyone can tell that you're on drugs, Matthew Perry.
Whoa.
Like, get it together. Yeah, he looked awful. And then he got off the drugs, and then toward the end of the show, he got chubby. He was up and down and up and down. But one thing that really struck me watching that show is Courtney Cox was so cute. She was such a cutie. And now you watch her on Cougar Town, and she's got a face like it's frozen, like Mr. Freeze in the Batman
Cougar
sequel.
Town's still on?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Oh, man, she looks rough.
A little work.
Too much.
The answer is breasts, by the way.
Yeah, well, Leah Jasmine knows what I'm talking about. She'd never have any work.
I haven't watched Cougar Town. I don't know what her face looks like.
Well, you know what it looks like, but now just...
Mike Gentile's just spreading his face across his skull.
Hey, is it time for...
Taggart Tale?
Taggart's Old Man Taggart Tales? Taggart, what are you doing?
How's it going, fellas?
Oh, he's right now building his Toronto Maple Leaf shrine, getting ready for this postseason run.
Yep. How are you feeling about that, Toolsy?
I'm as excited as you are.
What do you mean?
No
I'm
chance.
excited. That was my 1970s excitement. I'm excited.
Do you have like a 1970s jersey that you're going to pull on, like a Lanny or a
No,
Sittler?
I'm more of feeling if I were to be like back in time in the good old days, it would be Palmatier jersey. Probably.
Love Mike Palmatier, number 29, right?
One of the extra defensemen at times.
Palmatier, I've said this before. Now, when I was a kid, I thought his name, because we'd always play goalie when you're playing road hockey, I thought his name was Paul Matier.
I also remember, because I lived up in Mansfield, that there was Ken Reggett came up to the local Honda, I believe, in Alliston.
Ken Reggett, I just love those blue and white pads. He was the
I remember
first.
he used to go on the radio and he would rip on the other goalies or players for pushing the posts off all the time.
His helmet came off every third whistle. Kenny, get a strap.
The big bucket, the Cooper, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, the Cooper.
He once made a glove save on one of the Cavallini brothers that I still remember. Bob Call with the call, and his arm almost came off. It was such a scintillating glove save. I'm not a Leaf fan, though. So
I know, but he was a big deal back in the day.
He was a huge deal.
Yeah, they both were. Palmatier and Ken Reggett.
Hey, Taggart, I also have to ask you, because you're, I know you're a huge Jays fan. Can we just get your thoughts on what has happened to this team so far? This has got to be, I mean, Torontonians are used to very disappointing sports stuff happening to them, and this is just like off the charts how bad this has been.
It's sad, But in the idea of it, what we're seeing is a bunch of like geniuses that don't have, you know, the feel of playing together yet. You know, they're all, you can see the depth of talent, and it's funny that someone like Aaron Sebia is doing so well. Just kind of, he seems to be, because he's been here, he just kind of seems the most collective at taking the right pitches and then hitting a home run in his little spot out in center field.
Yeah.
But I think what you're seeing and we're all experiencing is just a lot of really great players that are, you know, finding the one thing that's tough, and especially when you put pressure on a team, is playing as a team. You know, when you're all put here from losing teams, you know, to expect to be a winner, that's a big deal. So I think, you know, they're going to get it to the point of being back to consistent, but they still have to find some level of understanding on the field together still, I think. And a lot of guys are throwing blame on Gibby when, you know, he's made a couple of mistakes, like taking out Rasmus too early.
Everyone talks about that one.
You know, he's a good defensive player, and they take him out late, and they lose by a run or two. It's like, it seems like you can blame the coach all you want, but some of the bullpen isn't perfect, and, you know, it's just they're losing only here and there by a couple of runs. Once they start to understand that, put some defense behind that, and the pitching staff to get some location and just it's just stress, you know, dealing with all of that.
Well, Alex Rios, when they asked him about his former team, he pointed out, well, the Miami Heat didn't win the first year they had everyone together.
That's a good point. Good point.
It is, and it's not like they're old veterans. You know, these are all really gifted young players, and it takes a team to win at baseball. So, I mean, they're used to that in New York. You know, that's one legend out and another one in. This is like kind of rare to have this much talent with, you know, all of a sudden supposed to do the really hard part, like how you see a team like the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs, from mostly because of a team, not even the stars. But you can play the game in a way with players. If they mesh together, anything can happen. Same with the original Jays. You know, it's not like they were some monster team. They're just great players that came together, you know, in 93 and 92.
Anything is possible!
That's right.
That's what Kevin Garnett would say, or he did.
All right. Hey, I got a good old man story.
Oh, let's hear it.
Yeah.
This one, Gentili will relate to because he lived probably down the street when it was happening back in 1990. We lived on just Weston Road, just south of Finch there. And Habitat Arena is a big arena around that area. And me and my dad used to pitch behind the church across the street because it was a nice flat piece of land, and we'd hit small rocks and pitch. Sounded like I was on a desert island, but it happened a lot.
You were pitching rocks to each other?
No, hit rocks after pitching for a couple hours, you know, just to get the bat together.
Ah, okay.
Oh, okay.
Small, little tiny pebbles.
Just pebbles.
Just to get the hand dial.
Throw them up and
up to
take a
speed.
swing.
Hours, yeah, for sure, every day. So with it was a fun time. It was kind of, you know, it was very consuming. I only understood, like, my dad as a drummer practicing for like 8 hours a day, like nonstop, just refining his craft. And he just felt like, well, you know, I showed some ability in pitching, so we're going to do this. Let's get out there every day. And I did it for so long, I didn't know how crazy it was. You know, I just knew no one else on the team had to practice.
So you guys went home and hit some rocks? No? Well, what are you talking about, Tagger?
So listen, we're practicing, and we had a great day, and we're walking back home across the street to the 3355 Weston apartment buildings. Really bad, but they were called like Paradise Island or something. You know what I mean? It
was like Fantasy Island, but it was.
Yeah, they always have some nice name, like, you know, the Altar Hotels. Anyway, we're walking home, and all of a sudden this black van comes, and out of it comes this, you know, kid who looked exactly like the guy on the dirt bike in the Bad News Bears, who's flying around in the outfield, just screwing around while the team's trying to practice. At the beginning, we eventually joins the team. Remember that guy?
Yep. Badass.
Looking like that guy. He hurls a sandwich at about 60 miles an hour in this van at us, and it hits my dad right in the eye. A sandwich, like from lunch, you know, some total stoner in
like
grade,
a full, you know,
sandwich. Yes. 60-mile-an-hour sandwich in my dad's eye and face. And literally, like, I look at him, and I thought, like, it was something crazy because, you know, it came flying so fast, and they're down the street screaming, and I look in his eye, and there's mustard in his actual eye. It's like the sandwich has opened on his corner of his face and just smothered itself into his body at 60 miles an hour. And literally, he was kind of out of it for a second, like, you know, he couldn't see because he had mustard in his eyes.
You know how it is.
Yeah, and obviously, he was full-blown Ronnie at this point. He was like
Ronnie's rage.
Yeah, so he's screaming, and my brother had just come home from school, and he's like, "Let's get those warmongers!" And, you know, he took my brother's car and just rolled around. My brother at the time was like 16, like his first car. So it's like a Rabbit or something. And he's blitzing around Weston looking for these guys in a van on, in the Rabbit at, super crazy levels of volume. You could just hear him going around the neighborhood for like 45 minutes trying to find these guys. And he came back super angry, but they got in the way. And that's the story for this week.
So Ronnie is still, in many ways, Ronnie is still searching for that sandwich-throwing varmint.
And, so usually he gets his man, like he gets to hit someone in these stories. This time they got away. Like it's nothing. There was no resolve.
Was he like defeated? Did he seem defeated when he came back home?
Angry because these
why not, eh?
threw a sandwich at him. And he was like, I'm going to find these guys.
That would be a great scene in a movie. So you're just standing on the side of a road, all of a sudden you're hitting the face by a sandwich.
Yeah.
Just the concept is funny.
Right in the eye.
Oh, and mustard would sting in the eyeball.
Yeah, man. He was really out. If they use a form of mustard to blind people for, safety, right?
Taggart, we didn't get to go to Oysters before the podcast, but I went to that Fuchsia dog that we can see out the window here at the studio.
Right on Duncan.
How was that?
It was actually pretty good. They've got like all these different kinds of hot dogs, so we'll have to hit that up next time you're down here.
Oh, little hot dogs. I'm not a big hot dog guy, but
ever since your dad got hit by a sandwich with mustard, you don't like anything that requires mustard as a condiment.
Has anyone hurled a hot dog at your dad?
No. We'd never go to public places like that people have hot dogs.
Well, you only go to hot dog free zones.
He never went to Wonderland or anything. We went there. But no, he never. He was, like I said to you, Toolsy. I told you the guy has no, and it's he's my parents, him and my mom are together 24/7. But like the guy has no friends. Like when you call somebody, like let's do something, that doesn't exist. There is no like, hey, you want to? There's no hey person.
Hey, he's got a million podcast listeners that would happily call him up and take him out for a sandwich.
That's not the point, right? He's the most antisocial there is because there's no social interaction other than my mom.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah, I think
my brother comes up. No, because he's a hilarious guy. That's the thing. Like, it's bizarre. He should, and when he's around people, he lights up and everybody likes him. So it's just one of those things. Like, what the hell's going on, man?
Come on, Ronnie.
He will be on stage.
I remember when we had when the band was doing, somersaults or whatever. He'd come, hang out, have a great time. He's fine,
For podcast 100, when we do a live episode, he will come on stage along with Vince O'Toole for the crowd.
Oh man, that would be huge.
That is the plan.
I don't know how you.
It's going to happen.
Or something. You got to find something to get him up there.
How could we entice him? What could we do? Maybe we could.
We could cut out letters from a magazine. Say, you remember that sandwich? Here's where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
So it's like a hostage note.
Come confront me. I've got a carton of Frenchies ready for you.
There's that warmonger.
I don't understand the warmonger reference that he made.
That's the type of person who just wants to cause complete chaos. Like they're trying to rule the neighborhood with their cheap scene, and they're just trying to cause problem.
Their cheap sandwich throwing scene.
In the big picture, a warmonger does that. He's like, I don't care who you are. I just want to blow up stuff and be an idiot.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to let you go, Taggart.
No problem.
We'll see you next week. We won't take you to, is it Fusion Dog, Toolsy, or Fuchsia Dog?
Fuchsia Dog.
We'll find a better place to take you.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I like the on-rate selection so far. He knows the spots.
I like good food, and I don't like French's mustard. No, especially not after this podcast story.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next week.
See you, buddy.
See you, fellas.
Jeremy Taggart from Our Lady Peace, regular contributor to the podcast with his Taggart's Tales. That was a good one. Now I have the image of just you getting hit in the face by a sandwich.
Yeah,
now.
I almost want in like slow motion. Yeah, like just the slow motion bread hitting the face, and then like all the ingredients are all over, and then the mustard.
So the person that threw it, either they weren't hungry or it was a really bad sandwich, because you don't throw out a good sandwich.
Well, maybe he just took a bite and was like, this is bad, and just tossed it out the window, and Taggart's dad happened to be there, like hitting rocks with a baseball bat. And he's like, no one's going to be around here. Who would do that? Well, Taggart's dad did.
You know where sandwiches are huge, where this probably happens all the time?
Okay, sandwiches are kind of big everywhere, in every culture.
London. But wherever you go, they have pre-prepared sandwiches.
Oh, like pret-a-manger.
Yeah.
Right.
They're everywhere. It's like that's the thing to do. You go get a packaged sandwich.
Yeah, you go to that pret-a-manger place. We had one of those in Toronto, but it didn't take off. I don't know why, because it was pretty handy. I kind of got sick of them after a couple weeks, though. I still wanted to throw them at someone. Should have. Would have had a great story like Taggart's dad.
And now we have a vintage commercial.
Oh, I love this one.
This is an old classic we all grew up with, and we all really need in our lives.
Okay.
Clap on, clap off, clap on, clap off. The clapper
lets you turn things on or off from anywhere in the room. Just plug in the clapper and a television, lamp, stereo, almost anything you want to clap on and off.
Clap on, clap off, clap on, clap off. The clapper.
Clapper is available at Meijer, Perry, Hills, and Osco. Get yours today.
Okay, Jim, we're going to voice this commercial. Could you sound really creepy?
Why don't you just shoot some heroin into your arm, and then we'll put this mic right up to your face.
I think that guy, we're going to have to do a voice comparison maybe on the next podcast, but that might be the same guy that voiced the Power Wheels.
Oh, yeah? You think so?
Because they were both very sedated.
Why would you sedate your voice guy?
Let's hear. We got to hear that guy.
Can we hear that one more time?
Clap on, clap off, clap on, clap off. The clapper
lets you turn things on or off from anywhere in the room. Just plug in the clapper and a television, lamp, stereo, almost anything you want to clap on and off.
Clap on, clap off, clap on, clap off. The clapper.
Clapper is available at Meijer, Perry, Hills, and Osco. Get yours today.
This is the most depressing product ever made.
You can turn things on anywhere in the room. Was that Wayne Gretzky? Do we have that Gretzky commercial? Can we have that?
But the video of that commercial.
Trust me, I know.
Isn't it an old lady in her negligee and she's just like all cranky? She's like,
I don't want to get up, and I'm going to pee on my couch. I don't care if I have to pee. I'll just pee right here and turn off the light and sleep here. Isn't that right, Wayne Gretzky?
This is Wayne Gretzky reminding you that there's no better place in Toronto to watch the game than right here at my restaurant, Wayne Gretzky's 99 Blue Jays Way. This place is crazy when it's filled with hockey fans. And make no mistake, Toronto has the biggest hockey fans I know. Trust me, I know. We have 20 HD TVs, great menu, great service. We have everything here except for that Stanley Cup. Be here for the next game, 416-979-PUCK.
Waiter,
that commercial feels like it's 8 minutes.
Waiter, how about a little emotion? We'll trust me, I know. Oh my God.
Do we still have the Power Wheels one on there?
Oh, wait, before we get to that, I was thinking, like, why do they call gonorrhea the clap? And I found something here. There have been many theories on why gonorrhea is sometimes called the clap. For one, it's believed the clap refers to the old French term clapier, which means brothel, before gonorrhea was easily spread through these places. However, there's also another theory, which referred to how the infection was treated. To treat gonorrhea, it involved slamming a heavy book or object down on the penis so that the discharge would come out.
Wow. It's barbaric.
There you go.
We found the Power Wheels commercial. Let's see if it's the same guy who voices it.
Power Wheels Raider, Power Wheels High Rider, Power Wheels Classic Convertible, each sold separately, all battery powered with real motors.
Its own power motor makes me go, go, go! Power Wheels, Power Wheels, Power Wheels, power makes me go!
Your parents assemble them easily, then off you go, over the hills, around the trees.
Power Wheels, Power Wheels, Power Wheels, power makes me go!
Power Wheels Classic Convertible, Raider, and High Rider all run on rechargeable batteries, each sold separately.
That got a bit more life.
Around the trees. Want to get around those trees? Yeah. Like when he auditioned for that, they were like, okay, go ahead. Just give us a quick read. 3, 2, 1. Okay, you're going to go around the trees, aren't we? Huh? You like riding your little Power Wheel, don't you? Yeah, you're a dirty little Power Wheel rider. Perfect. You're hired.
Why not, eh?
Creep.
On that note.
This is a fun podcast. I enjoyed it. Hey, thanks. In all sincerity, man, it was fun to meet so many fans of the podcast at the bar on Friday night. So thanks for listening. We appreciate it. In fact, Mike Gentili and I were walking over to the studio tonight to do the podcast, and there was a kid on his Discman or his Walkman or his listening device, and he saw me. He's like, "I'm listening to your podcast right now." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, dude. And don't talk to me. And don't make eye contact."
And the other guy on the podcast is down there with mustard and hot dog juice all over him. You guys came to this door. I looked like I'd been homeless for about 3 weeks because it was just dripping all down me. Some guy did walk by and say, "Looks good."
Really?
While I was eating.
Really?
While I'm cramming a hot dog into my face.
Were you just like savoring it?
Well, I'm just like, because it looked like I was having problems.
That's some problems, all right. Hey. Is that what it was? Hey.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, and the snort?
I don't think I've ever snorted.
Oh, that was good.
Hey, have a great week, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
They're going home.
Dance. Dance.
Sexy basketball player?
Dancing.
This is the Jay and Dan Podcast.